It's another Celebrity Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Hello.
Good morning.
How are you guys today?
Fine, thank you.
We're wearing our birthday presents.
So we got birthday gifts, Mariah and I, from Afri Concepts.
Yes.
Really beautiful, very African. Can you see the design on mine?
Yes,
It's
mine
an African
too.
lady, really beautiful.
Me too, yeah.
I spent the whole of this morning trying to look for the proper bottom for this shirt.
And you
like
got
I wanted
one.
to.
It was
Yes,
perfect.
but I brought it to work and Mariah helped me choose
Yeah,
which one.
you wanted to
Because
wear
I
a
wanted to
wrapper.
tie
I'm like,
wrapper and tie my
I said she
hair.
doesn't have hips. Where you gonna tie wrapper for? Wrappers are for people like us that have hips, you know. It was designed for us, for our species.
Yeah, that was the state. That was how Igbo people were used to describe that. If you are married, you will add weight, and so when you do the double wrapper or when you wear your dress, it shows that you have now become a woman.
Yeah.
You've added small flesh and you have body to carry the cloth.
Okay.
But the skirt looks so beautiful.
Yes, it does.
Thank
actually.
you.
It really
So,
looks.
yeah.
My birthday was just me. Afri Concept.
Please,
But don't you have one already?
We all had now. Don't mind them.
But you guys got that type too now.
No,
No,
not
she
me.
didn't
This
get
is
that
my very
time. I got
first
that
Afri
time.
Oh, that's
Concepts
Oh, we all got
t-shirt.
last year or something like that, 2 years ago. Anyways, how you doing, Tagwe? Anything else?
Oh, okay. I'm fine. Busy weekend. But I feel this entire week has just been a very, very major learning curve for me. So on Wednesday, I learned a lot about the farmer header crisis, and it just gives me a different perspective. I feel very, very intelligent before, but when you hear someone else's opinion on everything, it broadens you, and it might not be that I'll agree, but at least I've learned that person's side of the story. So it was a learning opportunity for me yesterday to sit with former governor of Lagos State and former BRF, former minister, and it just gives you a different perspective. I listened, and my husband was asking me, Kile she, how many hours? I said, don't worry, I'm learning, and I did really learn, and you know, just getting open to get better and be able to better present to the Nigerian public facts, and also with the focus of uniting Nigeria and not letting myself be used by partisan people to separate us further. You know, that was it for me.
Well,
That was very summarized, yes. Because the truth is that we follow the papers, and we always assume that everybody's saying something in the papers is actually on the right front. They're actually saying what the mind of the people, which is not true. Half of them are actually being paid or being mischievous.
Yeah.
Yes, Nima, how are you doing?
Very well. Today is I'm working, I partner with the Dorcas Cancer Foundation.
Okay.
And today I'm facilitating their support group, Hands of Gold, at support group with cancer patients, just to talk to them, to mentor them. So right after the show, all the way to Luth, I hope that I do it well. Right now, I'm the one looking
That's
for
nice,
support.
actually.
It's a bit heavy though, you know, because these people have this, like, when you engage people who have like terminal illness or people that are going through a whole lot, it humbles you, and like.
Nima has the heart for that. She has a really big heart. and
Actually,
I think
actually.
because I can't do it. I mean, like, I'll just be very, I don't even
You
know
don't be
how to handle
sad.
it. But Nima knows how to handle kind of things. But it's good job you're doing.
And you?
Well, thank God.
How was the event yesterday?
Which event is that?
The
Caleb, yes. So I
yes.
was there. In fact, yes, it was crazy. Immunization, then Caleb, then the meeting with the BRF. It was crazy. But so Caleb was nice. It was fun. There was the primary school kids, and they were graduating. I was the MC. It was nice to be there, and they appreciated me with a nice hamper. I like going to school. They were just nice and cute, you know, really nice. I enjoyed it. It was fun being at Caleb. But I'm also happy there's no school runs today. The kids are finally home. I know yours was yesterday.
Yes.
Me, and I feel like following Nima, following you, following everybody else was like that. Because usually I have to plan my time with school runs.
Yes.
So I always have to walk around, okay, I have to be back home at this time. So right now I am free as a bird.
I don't think that people appreciate the sacrifices women and even men some make during school runs, because your schedule. I was not on an appointment for like a month now on the island, and because every time I need to calculate that I must be back on the mainland by 2:30, it never happened. And so shout out to every woman out there, every school runs person, everybody doing school runs.
I'm so happy. So now, in fact, if you want me to come and visit you, just send me a message. I'll be there, you know, hanging out, doing stuff. You know, we should go out for lunch, that kind of stuff after the show. Trust me, I'm available. Let's go on the break. It's Friday. We're happy and gisting all the way. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to go through the top stories of the papers today, starting with The Punch. Fish out bad eggs amongst Fulani Oni, tells Buhari. Picture story, Jakonde Estate along the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway in Lagos. This is horrible sight. Young kids walking over planks, walking on planks to get to the school. Outrage, a soldier driving against traffic assault Lagos motorist. I raped my daughter to test her virginity, says suspect.
Yes.
Siasia's mom kidnappers demand 70 million naira ransom. Abiodun seeks Assembly's nod to stop Abiola Tech Varsity. CAF car fires Pinnick. Mikel Gallo exits Super Eagles. Gunmen kill 2 soldiers, abduct expatriates in Akwa Ibom. Atiku gets 55 cartons of documents, closes case. Arrested suspect not yet linked with Olakunre's murder. Boko Haram kills Colonel, Captain, 4 others in ambush. And sacked NHIS boss refuses to return 5 vehicles. Okay, let's start with the guy that raped the...
Yes, so the 37-year-old guy, his name is Wasiu Orilonishe. He's been remanded in prison because he's been having carnal knowledge of his 15-year-old daughter. And he explained himself in court and asking for mercy. He says that he actually did it, that since he lost his wife, he's had to be the single father taking care of his daughter and her siblings. And that as she grew up, you know, he just wanted to make sure that she was still a virgin. And when he found out that she was still a virgin, he continued having sex with her in the mornings before she leaves for school and at night. And he's been doing that for a long time. Anyway, they've asked him to be locked up in prison for what he's done. I think he said he lost his wife. So he's been taking care of the children. And the court gave advice to fathers who are sleeping with their children. You know what, Mariah? There was a time we talked about this thing and it went viral for the wrong reasons. We had someone come here who came and told us how children meet her and say to her, my father is sleeping with me, my mother knows about it. And when it goes out, Nigerians don't hear that. What we hear is, you know, what is unimportant. This is happening in our society. Fathers, there are some fathers that are sleeping with their daughters. And it's normal for them. He also said it's also for her protection.
He said he wanted to test her virginity. And so I think that we should let any young person watching, no human being,
we'll make it a topic
should
about
test
it.
your virginity.
I mean, that's just what the people say, but let's move on. Unfortunately, we can't deal with it as much as we'd like to. Let's take that story. Outrage.
Another soldier man, Duru was his name, made headlines as well. On Moloni Way, along that Obalende Road. He was driving one way, and the car that was supposed to be obstructing him decided to reverse, and he got upset, blocked the car, pulled out the driver, beat him up. The young lady in the car with him, with the driver, made a video of the entire episode and posted it online. His face is there, it's out there. We can identify him. I would not like that the chief of army staff or whoever is in charge in Lagos water down what has happened. There's evidence out there. Trace it and find out if such a thing happened, and do something serious to deter such a reoccurrence.
Quick one, Siasia, a former Super Eagles player, his mom, a 76-year-old woman, was kidnapped in her hometown, Odoni Sagbama local government in Bayelsa State. Ransom has been demanded of 70 million naira for the 76-year-old woman before she can be returned. The report has it that police officers at the Nigerian police force is doing what they can to speed up the process, but at least they have a demand for ransom. We're hoping that these abductors will not harm this old woman.
Moving on now to Daily Trust. Colonel, Captain, 4 others killed in Boko Haram ambush. Many escape as hotel building collapses in Ebonyi. U.S.-Nigeria sign new pact on food security. Senate confirms nominee rejected under Saraki. Misconduct 120 doctors on the probe, 60 awaiting trial. OPC gives police 21 days to fish out Olakunre's killers. Buhari illicit funds worsening insecurity in Nigeria. Let's start with the Ebonyi State. What's the story?
Yeah. So guests at the Metro View Hotel in Abakaliki in Ebonyi State, most of them had come for a seminar. There was a seminar, and luckily for them, it was sort of outside the premises. Right. And then the building collapsed, so no lives were lost. So imagine if they were in the building.
Were so lucky.
One of the staff said that 3 days before, they had noticed a crack along the wall and had mentioned it. But I don't know why they would still then
have carrying out repairs.
Have guests in.
they were carrying out repairs and still had guests.
In.
Really. There's a story that also caught my attention. This one of misconduct 120 doctors on the program. I read the story. The story is actually a good story. The Nigerian government had actually recruited actually, 400.
They're doing induction for 412.
They actually recruited them from
doctors.
abroad. Nigerians are living abroad. The doctors living abroad. They brought them to Nigeria and they inducted them into the Nigerian Medical Society. So now, while that was a good story, that they're now telling them you have to be professional with your work, you have to hold your office in high esteem and all that. At the bottom, towards the end of that article, they now told us that, oh, there are 120 that are under trial for misconduct, and 60 of them are awaiting trial. That was not the major story, but the major story did not make the headline.
Was a good one. They want to sensationalize
Yeah, so that really did.
But the Nigerian Medical and Dental and Medical Board has been doing a lot of good work in providing sort of like a platform to caution doctors who have been found abusing their position or malpractices going on. So
moving on now to The Nation. After visit to Buhari, Southwest wants no war. There's actually a quote here. Says that everybody's beating the drum of war. We don't want war. Who can stand war? We want something better for our youth.
Yes.
We should use them for something good other than shouting war and anarchy.
God bless you.
$60 billion yearly outflow undermines Africa's stability, says our president. NNPC to supply 10% of India's crude oil. TUC rejects government circular on new pay. And abductors of Siasia's mom demand 70 million naira. You're going to talk about on his visit.
So the Ooni of Ife visited the president over the issues that we've been having nationally. And when he came out, when he was asked, he talked about what transpired between himself and the president, saying that we've told the president we do not want war, and the statement Morale just quoted. The reason I felt the story I wanted to take into the Guardian is essentially because of that quote. We understand that crimes are happening in Southwest, they're happening all over the country. We do not want anybody to stigmatize one tribe as an instigation on another tribe to react. So we've had reactions now, and we see that it is out of place. I think it has now doused the tension. Everybody I don't clear that where we are going, we might not like it. We do not want war. Yes, the NEF called their people to return because they say they are afraid that harm will come to them. Yes, it's wrong, but they felt the need to do that. It was reactionary to something that we had started.
Right.
Yes, and it's important that the president sees the bigger picture and do something immediately to curb any further harm from happening.
And in addition, Oni also said that he came here on behalf of the Alaafin of Oyo and the Oba Lamidi Adeyemi. He has actually spoken to all of them, and he knows that the Alaafin of Oyo is also very close to Awujale, Oba Sikiru Adetona and others. So it's a consensus.
Yes.
They've agreed that they don't want war. Southwest doesn't want war, and the president must, that they are going to organize a meeting with the service chiefs, with the Southwest leaders, so that they ensure that there's no war in this region.
Who are the Southwest leaders? Because we keep hearing some people, in recent times, they've been having someone writing letters, someone giving comments. A lot of people are drumming dissent and drumming crisis. So I'm happy that a traditional ruler is speaking up, having meetings with others, because they are the ones it will affect most. They are the ones on ground all the time, feeling the pulse of the people. So we don't want war, actually.
Okay, Daily Sun. Security chiefs, Yoruba leaders to meet. We just talked about that. North under siege, says Senate. Africa needs leaders with Mandela's spirit, says Kalu. Recall notice, Northern elders reply Buhari. Buhari says looters to blame for insecurity in Africa. Urges security agencies to trace, block illegal funds, which is similar to what we discussed yesterday. That there's more like an organized crime situation here where people are using illicit activities to actually perpetrate violence.
Siphon and through the back door siphon our money.
So, quick story. The Senate yesterday focused on the North with the agenda of saying that the North is under crisis. The Islamic State West Africa province is carrying out attacks within the North Central and the Northeast. We have farmer-headed crisis, we have banditry, and they're saying that the chamber is going to the observation of them is that all these leaders, the Obasanjo, the Soyinka, all of them they are supporting the Senate is supporting what they are saying, that there's crisis in Nigeria, the government needs to look into it, and that they are going to put pressure on the security apparatus to do their job. But, you know, we were also marking the anniversary of Mandela, and Orji Uzor Kalu, the chief whip, spoke up on the fact that we need to raise, and I wanted to say, he said, he taught the world the meaning and essence of humility, forgiveness, acceptance, perseverance, and tolerance. You know, and I think that when he says this, we shouldn't just say it as talk shops to say, oh, Mandela did this if he was forgiven. We should exemplify what Mandela stood for as every leader.
Yeah, there's justice and fairness to that also, which is very important. Justice and fairness, because that's one of the issues we're having. And I can never take away what our guest on this week said, that we're trying to be our brother's keeper. Yes, it's important, but how do we do that? To ensure that no side is feeling like they've been left out in the entire salad bowl concept. Anyway, we need to bring that man back. I actually enjoyed that.
I did.
Not important
This week has just been.
salad bowl concept. All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, Daddy Freeze caught our attention.
Again.
What did he say? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Again.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So recently, Daddy Freeze, this Daddy Freeze matter, eh? Called out a particular church in Nigeria over the act of praying for a member's enemies to die. He regards this as antichrist actually, and says that instead they're supposed to pray for their enemies to prosper and even lend them money whenever they need it. Okay, so do you agree? You can join us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so we have some churches that we do die, you must die. Because the belief is that you cannot allow a witch or your enemies to see, because if your enemies do not die, how would you prosper? That's the mentality. They must die, sha. And Daddy Freeze is saying that maybe actually that's antichrist. Maybe that's not what God wants us to do. So let me start with Tokwe. Who is a church there?
I feel I feel it's extremely bad that we're ascribing this to Daddy Freeze, because my pastor has said this many years ago and still says it regularly, that it is unchristian and unchristlike for any Christian to be praying death on somebody. Okay. So it is not a Daddy Freeze thing. Some churches practice the doctrine, doesn't mean it is acceptable in Christendom or as a Christian. It is not biblical. So a lot of people have taken Old Testament because it pleases them and it suits them, and they manipulate it to trap people because it fits into our African mind. You know, Africa believes that there is evil and evil people exist, and if you don't kill them, they will kill you. And so the Old Testament of you cut my hand, I cut your leg, works for them because it makes them feel like, oh yeah. But the New Testament, the message of Christ and grace is to love and forgive, is to turn the other cheek. It is never for you to pray your enemies die. And I've asked people this even before I felt, even as a young Christian, that why would you pray your enemy die this Friday? And the next month, you are praying that same enemy dies. Then you pray the same prayer.
There are plenty enemies now. What are you talking about?
No, that's
okay. Let me come to this. I know a family. They live abroad, and one of the sons came back to Nigeria because nobody wanted to come back to Nigeria at the time. He came back and he went to, I can't remember what state, somewhere in the east, I think, that he went to. I can't remember what state it was. And he got there, and the moment he got there was somebody, they call her this one old woman, came to him. This is a real life story. These are things that they say. Okay. For me, I wasn't there, they told me.
Okay.
Anyway, that woman saw, because they told him, don't tell them whose son you are. Just go there to pay your respects and go back, you know. And obviously, somehow, they just found out, this is Lagbaja's son. This woman now came to him and said, so I heard that you're Lagbaja's son. He didn't respond. You know that he didn't make it back to the US. The car that was taking him back to Lagos to get to the port crashed and he died. Now, they started a serious fasting and prayer
And the
against
woman
the
now
enemies,
died.
household enemies. Because in Nigeria, household enemies exist.
Child.
So for me, personally, first I want to know who is an enemy? Who's your
Somebody
enemy?
that don't want to progress, they don't want you to, they don't want anything good to happen to your life.
Me,
The one
yo.
that is taking your picture.
Me,
I'm-
you see normal mortals,
Right.
human beings, they're not my enemy. Enemy is such a powerful word. I cannot give you that sort of power. You're not my enemy. You're a hater, a minion of hate, a messenger of hate. That is what you are. And what I do with people like that is, you don't exist for me. I ignore you. You don't have your energy around me. That is how I deal with that. But you see who my enemy is? The enemy is the devil. What does it say? That we fight, our warfare is not carnal. But you know, we are fighting against powers and principalities. So I don't have a problem with kabashing and wabashing the devil.
Kabashing and
I will
wabashing.
you see, me and my household, we cover my household with the blood of Jesus. The fire of the Holy Ghost surrounds my family. The devil has no power over my family. That's how I do it. But for those little messengers of hate, there's nothing. I mean, just waking up in the morning is enough. It's enough testimony for the haters to just, you know, disappear. So that's how I see
I
it.
don't hear. Elijah, in your own scheme of things, do you guys have enemies in Islam? Do you kabash
I'd
them?
rather not even say something because they'll just come at me on Twitter. But I don't believe in those spiritual so-called enemies. Because God forbid one old woman in your neighborhood is wrinkled. She don't turn Ralia's grandmother.
Yes, so.
She's aging. Naturally, you hate her. You look for someone to place that mentality you've created of somebody doing you when you're doing yourself. Sometimes your enemy is within you.
Right. In most cases.
Your enemy is that procrastination. Your enemy is that refusal to take criticism, to grow, to learn, to unlearn. Your enemy is yourself. That's what
Yes.
Islam says. Now we know that there's something that's in my religion called evil eye and evil plots. When you wake up in the morning and you just seek refuge, you've done all that you need to do. My religion also preaches that be careful of suspicion. So until you nail something, do not conclude that's your enemy. Might be that woman who says to you, don't do this, be careful this way. You just look at her. Some people say, when I was working, I now knock leg for stone.
Yes.
I look back, they're looking at me, they want to fall me down. You better walk well. Number two is that when you sort of create this world around yourself, it slows you down.
Totally.
Eventually. And in my language, we say, Ogeno Ogbaziba. It's not an unjust God. Check yourself.
Okay.
If you're clean, the Prophet will say, when a person curses an innocent person, because you've assumed, you suspected your father's mother or your father's stepmother, what they do physically, you can deal with. If somebody wakes up and say, don't give him his school fees, I don't want him to go to school abroad, that's physical. You catch or you suspect someone poisons you, but to assume there's a spiritual whatever around you,
Or
clean
that-
yourself.
Okay, all right,
so
let me
that you
take this
don't
call.
unjustly accuse somebody.
Let me
It
take
will
this
come
call
back to
from,
you.
exactly. Very good point you made there. Let me take this call from Joshua. Joshua, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Morning, go
Mariah.
ahead, please.
Good morning, all of you. Matthew 5:44 says, "But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Love your enemies. You see, because we have exalted religion above humanity, we're not tagging our fellows enemies. That is completely unscriptural.
Thank you.
No religious book promotes seeing a human being, a flesh like you, as an enemy to be killed. That is witchcraft. It is not Christianity. It is not Islam. It is not any religion. It is pure witchcraft.
All right.
And we need to understand that. That's why we have Boko Haram today. We have to start looking at people as humans,
Right.
not as enemies.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. You see, I hear you, and we all agree. Of course, you know, I agree with you in principle. But the thing is, there are people out there that totally, completely believe that the reason why they're where they are today is because of the enemies in their father's house, in their mother's house, enemies where they grew up, enemies in the school, enemies in their marriage, enemies in their in-laws, enemies everywhere.
And that is the reason they will continue to remain where they are. because what you believe is what works in your life.
Exactly.
So if for any reason you believe that by virtue of my family, this family I come from, they worship something, I stopped worshiping that thing has a power over my life, so I must continue to pray so that that thing does not overcome my life, then you would exist under that. We don't have the spirit of fear. We have the spirit of faith. So I wonder why people live in perpetual fear and call that a spiritual journey with God. It shouldn't be. The truth is that there are people that will be manipulative. There are people that really will genuinely wish to kill others. Some people, and it is promoted by the Nollywood. It's promoted by Nollywood. No, whatever you focus on would expand. Pray for your grace. Pray for your life.
Yourself.
Pray for the future. Pray for God to win the souls of the enemy.
Something to it. The angels pray for you when you pray for others. So if I wish you well, angels will say, Nima wishes Tokwe well. God wish her well, and that's it. God will say, I love such a person, love. That's the way I was raised. Then there's one thing I always take to heart. My father was the first son of a third wife in a polygamous setting. There was a lot of stiff whatever. But whenever my step-grandmother visited Lagos, she was welcomed well. And we were not allowed to know step-grandmother. It will be us asking, we saw our grandmother. So, okay, this is your second grandmother. If in that circumstances, where they had some issues happening, the two wives fighting, and my father witnessed that, and never could he put his stepmom in that position. I see no reason why I should restrict my growth like that.
Let me take this call from Adelaide. Are you there?
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
All right, good morning.
Morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. My suggestion is that we should understand that God even have an enemy. So if somebody say you have no enemy, it is not true.
God doesn't have
The Almighty God said, I will strike my enemy, and they will know that I am the Lord. So there's enemy, but we don't have to command them to die. Our position is to show them love. By love, you win them over. Look, I spent 17 years overseas before I came back to Nigeria. After 9/11, when the people came from some part of the world and bombed the 9/11 building, I was in Florida that day. They start rounding everybody up. They have other names. If you are not a Christian, they will round you up. They will ask you what is your religion. They will say all kind of things to you in Florida. But what am I saying? But with love, you win your enemy over.
All right.
So it's not by killing.
Thank
it's not
you very
by.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mariam.
Yeah, so I have a practical example. I know a family that the second wife was brought into the house to give birth. Like, these are older people, to give birth to the sons that the first wife could not give birth to. And many of the children died over the years. And of course, it was the first wife that caused it. She was the witch that killed all the children. But the children grew up, became educated, and found out that most of the ones that died had SS. They had crisis, but there was not enough education for the parents to understand that that was what has happened. So over the years, that hate was also perpetuated. These people don't love you. These people hate you. They've killed all your siblings. But it was just, you were not genetically compatible with the man that you're with, and you gave birth to children that died.
All right, let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So there is a verse that we use when we are killing demons. You say, we use Exodus 22:18 that says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." So if my own wife is telling me, don't suffer a witch to die, but that witch must die, because that witch is the wicked person that is after my entire life. Why are you not telling me that I shouldn't pray for that witch to die? The same Bible that the refuse is closing is telling me to suffer nothing.
Old Testament.
And now we are choosing which testament to pray.
That. So there was an establishment of what the scripture was, so that we understand how we are getting better. So if the Old Testament was sufficient, we wouldn't need a New Testament. That means the New Testament supersedes that. There's a law of grace we are under. And I'm not saying that just because I feel like, let me just discredit what Daddy Freeze is saying. I'm saying it because many people are trapped into thinking there is one ancestral cause. And my pastor has always said, and it is in the Bible, when you become a Christian, you become a child of God. Your ancestor is now God. Your sibling is now Christ. Because we now become the young. So when we begin to think, oh, my grandfather, great-grandmother, it's because you have given them that honor and place over your life. You've given them authority to create whatever it is you are seeing in your life. When we focus on, I am living in grace, God has given me opportunities, whatever I experience might happen, and there are ups and downs. Old Testament gives an example of how Job had experienced some suffering, but came back outside. He wasn't if he was focusing on a friend was the one hurting him, he would have missed out on the opportunity to learn.
Let me take this call. Morning, are you there, Toby? I feel like this is the Christian religious. Hello, Toby, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning.
The Bible said the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and violence take it by force. Hello?
Please read the verse before that and the verse after it, because we just isolate. Ah, God.
Okay, we'll come back to that verse.
So
yeah, let's come to Nima for a second.
Talk about the way Nigerians now, because of this our die-die mentality, attack innocent people. There are people who wandered off the house. You remember I was looking for an old man. We've not found him till date. I just pray he didn't end up in such a circumstance. Where people wander off, lose their memory, and one person is just kabashing somewhere, he received image, go and stone an innocent person, accusing them of changing from a bed to something. You remember the Ondo woman that was found somewhere in Lagos here? They said she had flown from her place down to Lagos and turned into a human being. She was hanging or somewhere. And the entire neighborhood had already started, you know, John Good justice on an innocent, mentally unstable person. We should be careful with this mentality. We push it too far. There was a neighbor of mine, an owl had given birth, laid eggs in the roof of his house.
I heard that story.
And this one is a kabasha. This one happened in front of me. This one is not there. Because I'm the only one that was deranged. So I went to him. I saw him burning an owl and the chicks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Where are you from, Oga?
Something you could be arrested for abroad.
Where are you from? He said, this evil came to my house. He will not go this night. I said, how did you find them? To your house? From the roof of your house that is open, you have an open roof.
But the devil opened the roof
and laid egg in the ceiling. You can see the spots. They miraculously
we lose common sense.
You now pack the chicks and the birds. These are nocturnal animals who can only see
at night.
They couldn't see. You and you
that's like them. Murder on the first
They do that for cats too now.
It's the same mentality of spirituality.
I'm laughing because, hey, my mom, I hope you're not watching because I have to call her out on this owl thing. My house, where I live, we have all sorts of birds come, and there's some owls that come at night. If my mom is around when that owl comes, she starts to pray and pray over this owl. You know, so it just shows us, it's our upbringing. Yeah, the spirit of fear.
Let me take, come to you though. Let me take Patrick. Patrick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to paint it this way to Daddy Freeze. Assuming Daddy Freeze is in the north, and Boko Haram came to their house to attack them, take the father away, take the mother away, and the children are taken to IDP camp. We will talk and Daddy Freeze still be praying for the enemy to leave.
Yes. Yes.
They have enemies. This is Boko Haram. They are killing them. Everybody has enemies. We kill our enemies, and the suffer not the wish to live. Enemy depends on the way they are. They are to die. They are not to live, so that they can have your peace.
So Luke 6:27 and 28 says, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you." Romans 12:20 says, "To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. By doing so, you heap coals on his head. Do not overcome evil by being evil, but overcome with good." Another verse of that same scripture is saying that, "Beloved, never avenge yourself, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will pray." We quote the scripture that suits what we feel per time. But the truth is, at every point in the Bible, it is focused on loving forgiveness.
I think the Quran talks a lot about love.
Love and forgiveness, but I don't want us to take away justice from this. So if an enemy like Boko Haram, we catch them, we punish them, we lock them up, we make sure that people who have been victimized by Boko Haram get justice. So for me, that is even prayer as well.
Mariam,
that's a crime.
arrest the Boko Haram, for instance, who's committing murder that is clear. When you take him to court, whatever the consequences are, even if he has to be hanged, that's the consequences. Now, is someone you've not found guilty of doing anything, even when you've actually found them, and I said physically, a stepmom who is giving you vibes and saying, no, don't send him to school, is still a human being. The Prophet ﷺ did something in his lifetime. When a woman heard he was preaching the word, she went to his house every day to dump her waste there at his doorstep every single day, and they would have it swept out. They would have it swept out. And on one day, she didn't come. He asked after her. He looked out for her and went to see that she was sick, and then started paying her back by taking soup to her, by feeding her out of her illness. What do you expect that person to do? But you could have sat as the prophet and just gave a word, and it would have been the end of the
Let me take this call from Mary. Mary, are you there for Mafuluku?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, based on the point that you raised on suffer not the witch to live. You know, when you say suffer not the witch to live, it's not the witch we are killing now. It is the attitude of being a witch. That attitude is that person that we are killing off. We need to pray for our enemies to live. Are you getting me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Our enemies need to be alive so that they will see when God is blessing us tomorrow. So when there are some attitudes that our enemies put off, it is those attitudes that need to be taken away, not killing the enemies.
Whatever you focus on.
You know,
we spend so much time on the devil.
Not a witch to live. It just reminds
Thank you very much, Mary.
Yeah, Joan of Arc. I mean, she was termed a witch. You know, she was 13 at the time. She's a martyr, I think we know that. And she was hearing voices from God to help them fight for, you know, there was a war between France and England, and she helped expel all their enemies. And she talked about who was supposed to be king. And eventually, the wrong king, they put her up on stakes and they burnt her alive and called her a witch. But many years later, after she was canonized and called a martyr. But that's the thing, we use scripture sometimes to punish people who do not deserve it. We do not have a full understanding. So I really don't like using that, suffer not a witch to live. Who are you? Who is the witch?
Let's sit on suspicion. Let's just say, the way that person looks at me.
There are people who have gone for deliverance.
And they
killed their enemies. They cough out some sort of animals. Listen, listen now. Because let's not trivialize this, because people actually are in bondage. And they go kill their enemies. Go pray 7 days, 3 days back to back fasting,
and their life
fasting,
changes,
and things actually change. So what happened in that situation?
Mariah, I won't say I know what happened in that situation, you know, but I know for a fact that there is a spiritual world, and it is powerful, and there are manipulation, there are magicians, and there are people that they're sorcerers, they do stuff. People vomit lizard, vomit all sorts of things in the name of we've been prayed for. I'm not going to deny that exists. But I am what I believe.
So who put the lizard inside you? The devil put lizard. Oh, so you are. So the devil put lizard inside you. Okay. So can't you pray against that?
Here is where I stand. Is that when you believe there is a lizard inside you, and you believe that this something is walking inside my body, and there are people like that they say something is walking in my body, and then they do deliverance and they vomit out something, actually like a live something, and they get relief. Once that is what you believe, that's the way you will get your healing. And you can in that same way believe that I will go to toilet and I would poop something out and I would feel relief, and that happens. The way miracles happen are in multiple ways. But when we focus on killing an enemy that you don't know exists, rather than focusing on God's grace make way for me. Jabez did not pray that, oh, let my whoever named me and gave me suffering. He just said, enlarge my coast. What do you want to manifest in your life? You want wealth? Focus and pray. God, let your grace bring wealth for me. Don't focus on your enemy suffering. Focus on you enjoying, because your enemy suffering does not bring you blessing. Your enemy suffering doesn't bring you blessing.
But you see,
it's touchy for me.
Thank God our guest today is actually
a spiritual person.
I mean, I feel like we're in church today. I hope you are flowing well, because I feel like today is church day, because we actually have the general overseer of a church in the building today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. She's been here before. She's the founder of Love of Christ Generation. What many people might not know about this wonderful woman, she's addressed as Iyala Dura, is that she's a prolific philanthropist. Welcome with us, Reverend Mother Esther Abimbola Ajayi. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Good to have you back.
Yes,
The first time you came, we were shocked and how much knowledge you gave to us and how much experience you shared, and we just had to bring you back.
I love you too.
So now, before you came on the show, we're talking about what Daddy Freeze said. Daddy Freeze talked about the fact that it's an anti-Christ statement for anybody to say you want to kill your enemies. Do you agree with that?
I agree, 100%. I always say this, that if a witch wants to drink my blood, and I bless the witch with about £1 million, she will look for another blood or go and look for omega H3 to take for blood. I'll tell you a story, a pastor that the witches wanted to kill, but every morning is this pastor that gives the woman pap and moi moi every morning. They go to the witch meeting. Anyway, I wasn't there, but the woman was saying, if you want to kill this man, you will kill me first because his love has bombarded my heart. Why will you pray that your enemy should die? Who is going to celebrate you? You understand? How many people do you think is against Abimbola Esther Ajayi?
Plenty.
I do amazing things. If you do unique things, somebody will be against you anyways. But love them. Oh, what I preach is love. Let me tell you, Christendom itself is about love. The book of John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Why do you, okay, if every enemy is dead, let me tell you, who is going to celebrate me? You know, when goodness comes to a stage, your enemy will say, let me tell you, I don't like the other woman, but what she's doing, I give it to her. Do you understand?
This word enemy, I keep hearing it and it has different definitions.
Yes.
Exactly what is an enemy?
Any form. It might be maybe a witch, maybe a wizard, maybe somebody that is thinking evil against you, maybe somebody that is crossing your path when you're about to receive goodness. It doesn't matter. Enemy is enemy. But the boss of the enemy is devil.
I'll quickly use this physical example of a friend who said when she was in labor, she went into like a coma or trance.
Yes.
And she couldn't push. They had to kind of use, other means to get out the twins. She had twin girls. And when I was now pregnant with my son, I had to do an emergency surgery. And I was boasting with the, what they call anesthesia, that, you cannot sedate me. I don't sleep easily. So you better just give me something so I know the procedure that is happening on my body. So this young doctor said, okay, don't worry, I will give you something. And I actually went into a trance. I traveled in my mind before I got back. Usually, anybody under that procedure, a simple procedure like that, will come awake in an hour or two. It took me 3 hours. I was completely knocked out. And the last thing I saw was my daughter, people in her hair. The first thing I saw was my daughter. And that was the memory, the person I yearned for the most when I was going for that surgery, the only thought I had. Now, if your thoughts is your neighbor you've had a fight with, and you go into a trance, of course you fight in your trance. Do you understand? And you wake up, how do you then define who your enemy is? Is it that contemporary that you have, that you, how do you exactly put, who makes an enemy? What do they do? How do they come?
It goes still to the Bible. As a man thinketh, so he is. Let me tell you, if your thought is all, we call it science of the mind. Everything that is happening in this place, I've gone through our hearts before this morning. I'll wake up, I'll go to the bathroom, and then to the studio. You've traveled in your heart. Anything you do in life will have gone through your brain, your heart before it comes out. If what you are thinking all the time, what dominates your brain is enemy they are pursuing, obviously they will pursue you. It's science of the brain. Do you understand? There are some people that have never had dreams before in their lives because they don't believe in it. And there are some people that if they sleep, they must dream. I'm one of them. What I think about all the time is the Bible, the Word of God. Something will come into my brain. I don't believe that it is possible for you to do anything.
People say that enemies, they will make you eat in the dream, you have to drink in the dream. When you now wake up in the morning, you have one kind of lump on your body. It has happened. These are stories we've heard. You sleep, they give you something to eat, and you wake up and you have cancer.
As a man thinketh,
So easy.
So he
Full
is.
stop.
I even
I
like eating in my
guarantee
dream.
you.
I like eating in my dream.
Okay, ma.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm finding this.
And most of the time, you will eat salad.
Yeah, especially when I want
Do
the
you
food,
eat
they
salad?
don't give me. I don't eat salad.
It's not just about plantain or egg. It's the thing you know. You won't dream about Chinese food or something that they are cooking in Korea because that is not in your thoughts. That is not in your brain. It's in your subconsciousness. You understand? And it will come to manifestation at some point if you keep believing. If you believe armed robber is going to attack you, at some point it's going to happen because that is what your mind is thinking about.
All right.
Okay, ma. The thing is, you know, I'm happy to hear you say this, but the thing is, whether we like it or not, in Nigeria, many churches have been built on the backbone of curses and witches and devils are chasing you. And I need you to come for deliverance from these devils. A lot of us started from homes where the witches were pointed out to us, and we sort of thought they looked witchy, you know. They looked witchy. So the thing is, to hear you say that, is this a new awakening or is just...
The book of Ephesians chapter 6, you understand? We knew that, we said we are not fighting against flesh or blood, but against principalities and powers, against people of the darkest place of this world. Obviously, the Bible is making us to realize that there are fetish people, there are enemies, there are people. But the book of the Lord, the Bible, that's what I believe in. I'm a pastor. In the book of 1 John chapter 4, in that verse 4, it said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. If you believe on that, you're not going to do me no dark.
Okay, let me take this, Stephen. Stephen, are you there? Stephen, are you there?
Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Ladies, first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
At last.
Good to have you.
Yes. I'm so happy that such a topic like this is going on. And the contribution of my sister Tokbe, Mrs. Longe, and the other lady covering her hair.
Nima.
Fantastic. Excellent view about enemies and, you know, how we relate with them.
Right.
And so I will say I have, those views are superb.
Okay.
In most cases, one's enemy is from within. Somebody is actually there. A brilliant student that refuses to read during the exam and fails. He begins to say, oh, the mother will say, oh, the enemy has turned his head upside down and all of that. So those are fantastic contributions.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. Thank you very much.
So as a young child, I'm an only child. And my mom, as a young woman, wanted to have more children. So, of course, you go around. You'd pray, they would do this, they would pray. So they said they should bring the daughter. And somebody was praying, and he wanted to do deliverance for me. That there is a spirit in me that is not letting my parents have more children. And they were going to bathe me. And I knew that my mom was saying that then I was 7. And I did not allow. I said, I don't have any evil spirits in me. And I could understand what they were saying. And I didn't allow them do anything to me. So it was...
Did you stop your siblings from coming?
You see? So when you now do a medical check and find out that if she had done IVF, she could have had more kids. You know, but then it was accrued to spirituality.
I want us to drive away from this topic a bit.
Please, but you see, I have also, while within CNS and when I moved into CAC, seen that there are people that would come out and confess that I did a charm.
That's true.
I saw a woman confess.
Home video.
I did a charm, and the charm stopped my in-law from having children. I did a charm that killed, and they will confess, I'll give my life to Christ, now I'm a preacher, and all of that.
Yes.
So when people say those things, it is difficult for someone not to believe that my problem is based from somebody that is doing a charm. How do we deal with that?
The Bible is obvious. The word of God makes us to understand that things like that. But where I have my mind is that nobody can do anything except your creator, who you are his handwork of the 6th day, agree on that. Even the devil, their boss, before he could touch Job, he has to take permission from your creator. You have your belief in that, and nothing is going to happen. And that's where I stand. We don't say there's no principles. They are there. And there are people that don't shine that. But your mindset
All right,
is that it won't harm you.
let me
And
drive-
it won't harm you.
Okay, I think we've heard quite a bit on this topic. Because there's another topic our producer wanted us to touch on. The fact that the scandals going on recently in many churches, or not in many churches, generally, issues of alleged rape here and there. You run a church. Have you ever encountered issues of these kinds of scandals, and how did you handle it if it ever happened, where ministers, people who are supposed to be in high authority, are probably allegedly doing wrong things or mismanaging that position they have? How do you manage that situation?
Let me tell you, I always say this. Your pastor is not a Superman, no. It's just a person that God has placed in charge of you guys. The book of John chapter 10 from verse 27, my sheep knows my voice. The book of John 15 from verse, the whole of book of John 15 is that by their fruit you shall know them. There is something we call spirit of discernment. At some point you realize that pastor is looking at me, I was staring at me. It will happen. It has never happened in my church. Let me tell you, most especially when it's a female that is running the church. But when it's a male pastor, some of them, they have not killed their human nature before taking the mantle. You see, you become a pastor, maybe you went to the Bible school for 1 year, 2 years, and then you become a pastor. That man flesh is still there because he became born again. And if he's not developing spiritually, he will still see a boob when it's open. It's not blind. Some of them will wear sleeveless tops and then the mini and then they go to the pastor. If the pastor have not killed that human flesh, obviously, he will look at them. Some of them that are mature will say, oh, my friend, close your labs, get out of my office. You understand? But most of them are not matured enough. They just get out of the Bible story, I've got my ministry. When I went to the Bible school, Faith Bible College, by the time we finished general theology, some of them have started having ministry. Who has given you the experience? You are not even tutored. Jesus Christ himself was experienced before he started doing it. He went to the synagogue, he was preaching, and then he went out to do his things. Only God will help us.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still here with our Reverend Ajayi. Yes, go ahead.
You were talking about conquering the human nature of a person before receiving the anointing. And when the G of Redeem Camp mentioned that...
RCCG.
Okay, sorry. Redeem Church mentioned that, you know, there's a way you can guard against certain excesses, and it's mentioned in the sermon, talking about how outward dressing is and why he cannot allow female workers work closely to him. Some people went for, I think, like, the feminists felt it was discriminatory of women. You cannot be saying such a thing as if, and this person I felt was just guarding against what you cannot control before we have stories that touch.
Yeah.
Do you agree that, you know, as a person, because you're human, doesn't matter whether you have been called or not, you're human first, you should have certain limits of what you think you should guard, or, you know, what you shouldn't take.
Yes. Let me tell you, if you start to watch a television now, somebody is preaching the word of God, what will come to your mind? Bible. If you start looking at somebody that is sleeping with a woman, what will come to your mind? Sex. That's it. So as a man thinker, what you have around you, what you see around you is important. You cannot see me that I want to watch television and maybe I'm stumbled on things like this, but I will always watch God channel. Why? I love to renew my spirit. I will listen to gospel songs. Why? I want to renew my spirit. It's not that one-off, I don't do it. Maybe my children's birthday, maybe family holiday, I will listen. But I will know that that is not meant for my spiritual being. Do you understand? I am called. My husband is not called. His pa is a pastor, but he does his thing in the church. But the calling is upon me. My children, they are not called. They have their lives to live. It's not that they will be wayward. Obviously, as children of the pastor, there are certain behavior that is expected from them. But they are not pastors.
Okay, let me take this call from Kennedy. Kennedy, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Mariah, this is my first time on the show.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Clap for our...
Welcome to the show. It's a heavy topic.
Yeah, what happened is that the topic this morning is very important. I expect the spirituality level of the topic. I really appreciate her. She has taken her time to learn. But the Bible, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 44, Jesus says that love your enemies, bless them that curse you. So what many churches are doing today, they're doing things that is against the scriptures. And that is extremely very, very wrong. Because as it were, the fact that many people are doing something doesn't make it right. So the truth is that people should focus those things alone. Because many times, many people pray for what is not saving them. Pray for what is not saving them. So I would like people to from that.
All right, thank you so much, Kennedy.
Thank you, Kennedy. I wanted to ask you back to the churches and, you know, the call and the uncalled, and who received the call from God, and the place of government supervision. Because there's a country in Africa where it's been made into a law that before you can preach or own a church, you must have gone through theology and certified, so that the word coming out from your mouth will not be against what the scripture is saying. Do you believe in that level of censorship? Because right now, I can go and start a church, a ministry, without going even into theology and just say I'm called and I'm eloquent and I would gather people together.
That is where pastors are different from pastors. A gifted pastor is different from a trained pastor. Like the book of John 15:16 says, I chose you, you did not choose me. And I sent you to go and make disciples. And then as you make, is what the Lord is trying to say is that He's the one that chose us. But everyone, let's assume everyone is chosen from that book of John 15:16. But a tailored pastor is different. Like from the sect that I am from, the Cherubim and Seraphim, is if a pastor is trained, gone to the Bible school, you will see the difference. That's why I'm different. I'm special. I'm unique. I'm not boasting. But because the tailoring is there, because you've been tutored, you'll be different from somebody that just woke up, maybe he became jobless and he became a pastor. The human flesh is still there. And how the anointing will be turning to annoyance, you will see. Oh, you people, you did not pay your tithe. Okay, the God of my calling is going to sack you.
So do you agree with the pastor?
I have a question. I want to know what you think the role of the body of Christian organizations should be when issues like this come up.
The body
what should they do?
The body of Christ, when it comes to this, is that we should come together and pray together. But the Bible says sins confessed are sins forgiven. Let me tell you, if you commit an error and you are not owning up to it, the Lord even himself is not ready to forgive you. He said you should confess it so that you can be forgiven. You don't go bold-faced on it. You don't, that things, even if you don't want to come out and say, yes, I did this and it was wrong. You understand? I tell you a story. A man in America was gay, and then the person that he was partnering with has been blackmailing him. And the man said he's going to come to his church. Then while the congregation, 5,000, more than 5,000 congregation, somebody was telling me the story, were gathered, the man walked in. And as he saw him coming in, he said, I have got something to confess. He went on the pulpit that I have been this, but now I've renounced myself away from it. Everybody scattered. But eventually, they were coming back because he kept saying he has read. If somebody is truly, truly repentful, there's something in your soul, even your partner, even your children, if the apologies is something that is genuine, you feel it in your spirit, and you forgive and you walk up.
Ma, there's something I want to come to you personally, but let me take this call first. Aluko, are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Morayo, and
morning.
good morning, Bima, Tope, and other ladies.
Miriam.
I want to quickly direct this question to Mrs. Ajayi. Churches on in the past, in the late 60s and early 70s, used to preach morals.
And there are a lot of positives that you can draw out from churches. But you find that modern day churches now, it's all about prosperity and manage miracles. What's your take on this?
Let me tell you. The book of Ecclesiastes, money answers all things, we know that. But if you make all the money and you lose your soul, the Bible says there's no point in it. When you gain the whole world, the book of Matthew. Now, what I'm trying, what is being preached in the world now concerning prosperity, they know recession is all over the places. It's like working on people's brain. You understand? If you don't work, no money will come down from heaven, obviously. Work and fast, pray and fast and do whatever thing you want. But we should not forget about holiness as well. Because without holiness, nobody can go to the presence of the Lord. And on that alone, I stand. And in my church, if you come into my church, if I can see through and see your bra, I'm going to send you about. There are t-shirts that you have to wear. You go and put, no matter who you are, you go and put it on. And if you see, that is how I live in my church.
All right, let me come to you on a personal note, because recently or not too long ago, you gave 10 million naira each to 2 different people. And people are wondering, 10 million naira, okay, when it's not 10 naira or 10,000 naira.
Oh my God.
That, how does a woman of God give out 10 million naira to 2 different people? Where is she making her money from? Where did she get this kind of money from? And people feel like, if I give you more richer than that, so people feel like you're a rich woman. So tell us, how did you come about 10 million naira given to?
The only person in the whole wide world, that will not lack is a giver. The book of Luke chapter 6 verse 38, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. That is what the Lord is going to return into your bosom. If you are a practical pastor, you know there is power in giving. In the world you shall see tribulations, but be of good cheer. I've conquered the world. The book of John 16:33. I've gone through tribulations before. In the United Kingdom, where I live, I've been homeless before. And I pray to my Creator, if you can take me out of this mess, nobody will cry to me in this my lifetime and cry back. And that is how I've been living my life. Let me tell you, I've been giving Bible free of charge on social media, Bible that pastors sell. Somebody saw this on the social media, and the woman came looking for me. What she blessed me with, you cannot comprehend. She said, I've never seen such thing before. Let me tell you, some people are watching. And it's not what you give that the Lord will return to you. As I've been giving. This giving people issue, what has come back to me, you cannot comprehend. That they have not seen pastors like that before. That they have been wondering that, are all pastors dead?
I know you want to give to 1 million people. You think it's 1 million lives.
We are on 1,360,000 now.
Wow.
Yes, 186 just came back from Israel, free of charge. And we blessed them with money to eat in Israel, $150 each. I have not started yet.
Oh,
I'm just coming.
Well done.
Wow.
The more the Lord is giving me, the more I'm going to give back to humanity. Wow. I don't want to be one of the pastors that will go about stacking money and stacking money. Stack it. Because some of them even believe that the generations yet unborn, so that they will not lack. Let me tell you, eventually poverty is going to come as if you have never seen it before. I said this. Something is going to happen at the Tafawa Balewa Square tomorrow, July the 20th, 7 p.m. till dawn. By myself, God on my side, I face the finances alone. Why will I put the money aside? Let people come and enjoy Jesus Christ. Let them come and we've got Bibles from China that is coming free. Every human being that comes to that place will take it free of charge. Because I don't want to stack it and stack it. Yeah, I want to live a good life. I enjoy myself as well.
You obviously enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask about, the mission of putting, you said you've been called to put the White Garment Church and give you the positive light. I came from White Garment Church, but I left because everything was shrewd with something. There was some.
So you guys are very
spiritual.
Yes, is it your foundation?
Manipulation and all of that. So, yes, and I see that you're trying to do this, bring everything together. What are you trying to achieve, number one? And why are you doing this?
First thing, to disabuse people's mind. Let me tell you why I'm doing this. A lot of people are hypocrites concerning the white government churches. They will come in the night. I know lots and lots of above average Nigerians that comes to me and they bless me crazily. They don't want their names to be mentioned openly, but you come to me in the night, I pray for you and miracles happen. And then you don't want to be my friend in open. I want to disabuse people's mind on this, that stop being an hypocrite. You will come in the night to a white government pastor, and then on Sunday you go to Redeemed Christian Church of God and go to other Pentecostal church. You are an hypocrite and a deceiver as well. I am not saying it with every other churches, Methodist, Anglican, Redeemed, anyone, there will always be a Judas among the disciples, and there is going to be an Absalom in the family, but it does not mean you are going to castrate everybody. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12 from verse 1, concerning the thing of the Spirit, I don't want you to be an ignorant. It's ignorant when you start to segregate people. Have you met with Abimbola Esther Jai before? Have you been to my church?
I'll take Adegboyega. What's your connection with? It seems like a lot of white government churches are near water. I mean, or there's some connection with water. I need you to address that. But let me take Adegboyega's call first. Adegboyega, are you there?
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to speak regarding the first topic.
Okay. Go ahead.
Before that, I would like to appreciate our mommy sitting there. Mommy, you're a wonderful woman, ma.
I love you
God
too.
will continue to bless you, ma.
Amen.
But we would appreciate if you can stretch your generosity to us too, ma. Let me go back to that topic, yes.
Your generosity.
Okay.
What I want to say is, let me quickly refer back to the Bible. In the Bible, I think if the Egyptians are not the enemies to the Israelites, God wouldn't have allowed them to perish in the water. God would have told our Father in the Lord that stretched the rod on the sea to permit them or allow them to cross over with them so that they can pray. So that they pray that God should change their mind, so that they will just destroy them. It's only people that haven't felt the pain of enmity, because we have two different kinds of enemies. We have the physical enemy and we have the spiritual enemy. The physical enemy is the one that meets you in the street and slap you. That's the one they told you not to slap back. Or you should pray for that, you shouldn't beat them. The one that made you hungry, or that made you hunger, or that caused hunger for you is the one they told you to feed. It's not just the spiritual enemy. The spiritual enemy needs to be battled with thoroughly and destroyed, because if you don't destroy them, you will never reach your goal and will never make it.
Thank you very much. Do you agree with him, sir? Ma.
Let me tell you, if you keep, as people are watching, either from their homes, in the car, anywhere, they have different thoughts concerning all of us. Some will say, that stupid woman, she has come again. Only God knows how she got to that television station. Some are so envious of you. And if you gather all those out of 100, maybe about 70%. If 70%, if they are dead, who is going to celebrate you? You understand? It's going to, let me tell you, there are people that genuinely, I'll look at them as I'm coming inside a church. They will hide me like this. I've seen them. I don't care. I'm going to use my love to conquer you. I will smile. I will hug. Some of them will even be doing this. I say, Mommy, don't worry now. I'm just your daughter. At some point, some of them back off. Some of them become so close to me that, like the story she was saying, you understand? But if you start to kill everybody, fall and die, I don't believe in it. I personally, it's my personal opinion.
Okay, let me come to the issue of water. What's the connection with your church and water? There seems people are always scared that, number one, there's a water spirit and they worship with water, mommy water, something. I mean, what's that?
Let me tell you.
That's what they say, mommy water.
Have you seen mommy water before?
Never.
It's mouth-to-mouth talk. A lot of things people don't know, they just say. If you ask a lot of people, okay, why are you against the white government churches? That person will say, the people say, they say, have you seen it? Okay, have you seen it all? Let's say there's 1 out of 100. There's 2, like every other churches. There's one to be somebody that will not be doing something that is right, obviously.
Let's talk about how they're portrayed in the media. Because my best friend and school son back in secondary school is from the Cherubim and Seraphim. And the family are an amazing one. I don't judge people by whatever they associate with. Their person is what I deal with.
That's how to live.
But we see in the media how people will do, our film producers will portray the Aladura group and say they are the one doing something wrong. They'll give them an impression. Even musical videos, me shaking it, all sorts of things. My friend's mom would actually go and see a vision and do vision, and she'll tell us pray like this and give yourself a few days. And I respect her highly. I take it and I move and I do what I can with it. So what are you doing? Because you are very influential, to make sure that it's the right image of your church movement that is being promoted by movie producers and actors across.
Nollywood, Gongo, they are on this table.
Coming to your station is one of the things. Disabusing people's mind. I know right now, as people are viewing at home, some people are falling in love with me. That, oh, this is from White Garment Church. Let me tell you. And the thing that is going to happen at Tafawa Balewa Square, I keep repeating that, July the 20th, it will disabuse a lot of people's mind that, is this White Garment Church is gathering together doing this? We will disabuse people's mind.
It's free.
It's free. It's free admission.
Musicals,
free everything. There's going to be a lot of people that will be gathering. People from Europe are already on ground. People from America, all over, from 36 states of the country. Everybody meeting at the Tafawa Balewa Square to celebrate Jesus Christ and disabusing people's mind concerning things of the White Garment churches. You build your shoes.
Okay.
Be in your shoes, come. Wear your shoes, come. If you wear your shoes, wear your shoes. If you don't want to wear your shoes, it's okay, mama.
Yes.
So Ibrahim says, so my understanding therefore is that although they are evil out there, they are only as powerful and dominant as you make them through your own fears. And he went further to say that, and some Muslim imams are also guilty of this. A lot of people are parading themselves now as imams and afars who are driven by desire to extort money from followers with little or no spiritual or intellectual knowledge. Talk about it all the time.
Communicated to Ibrahim.
We are trying to do the rights, to promote the rights. And when we say the wrong, we can talk about it.
So Akimbo Mutia says, I'm Akimbo Ololade from Command Lagos. I think those praying that their enemies should die are just looking at the wrong direction. When we actually know that Satan is the real enemy to human race, why can't they just pray for Satan to die? Pray for Allah's protection and blessing.
You talk about any other
Divinely Encrypted said, but also we need to understand that, that spirits don't die. If they do, we would not have inherited any spirits in this present world. There are some prayers that will tender wrongly. Spirits don't die, and for enemies, God is the only one that decides whether they live or not.
This one is funny.
Please let me read this one. He says, Omo Yoma Emmanuel, I'll pray for the death of my enemies. Please don't shout at me or hurl insults at me for my position on this. When I pray, Christians know that praying for the death of the enemies is wrong, but they do because the enemies of today no longer repent like those of old.
Okay, Mr. Jesus says, when your village people nap, you will know them day. So there are no evil arrows, Abi. Make devil kiss you first. Are you telling me we only go to church to praise God?
Okay, all right. Unfortunately, well, thank you so much, ma. I know your event is on Sunday, I think?
On Saturday,
okay,
tomorrow.
So don't worry. So now that you use our show to slide your marketing.
I love you too.
Okay.
This is your love,
I love.
Thank you, ma. All right. That's
you.
all we can take on the show today. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.